Are vintage dive watches a good investment? If you have ever admired the charm of vintage dive watches, you might be wondering if they are a smart investment choice. Let's take a closer look at what makes these timepieces appealing to collectors and investors alike. First, the brand matters. Iconic names like Rolex, Omega, and Seiko have vintage dive models that are highly sought after. For instance, vintage Rolex Submariners and Omega Seamasters have a strong following. These watches have shown consistent value growth over the years. Seiko's vintage-inspired dive watches are also gaining popularity, especially limited editions that reflected their rich history from the 1960s. Next, consider rarity and condition. A vintage dive watch's worth often hinges on how rare it is and how well it has been preserved. Watches that still have their original parts, show minimal wear, and come with original documentation or packaging usually fetch higher prices. Unique features or limited production runs can make certain models even more desirable. Historical and cultural significance plays a role too. Many vintage dive watches were designed for professional divers or military use, adding to their story and appeal. Watches that have been part of significant events or representing milestones in watchmaking are especially valued by collectors. Mechanical craftsmanship is another factor. Vintage dive watches often showcase the watchmaking skills of their time. Enthusiasts appreciate the engineering behind these pieces, which contributes to their lasting allure. Market trends and demand are important as well. The market for vintage dive watches has been strong, with growing interest from collectors around the world. This demand can drive prices up, making some models attractive investments. However, market trends can change, so timing and careful selection are key. Lastly, practical considerations come into play. Unlike modern dive watches, vintage pieces may need more maintenance. Investing in a vintage dive watch means you should think about servicing costs and the availability of authentic replacement parts. In the realm of jewelry and watches, vintage dive watches blend aesthetic appeal, historical value, and mechanical artistry. They are not just collectible items but can also be rewarding investments. If you focus on well-documented pieces from reputable brands and pay attention to authenticity and condition, you can maximize your investment potential.